In this video for Pre-Lab 2, we will look at the LabVIEW setup that enables this logic in LabVIEW. So where we open serial communication, check a Boolean to see which to send to Arduino, use a stop button to control the while loop, and then close our serial communication at the end. And so here we go. I have some tools, and I'll show you with my context help. One is called Visa Configure Serial Port. This opens a serial port, which we are going to use. Whatever COM number you use in Arduino, for me it's always COM5, and then the default baud rate, I use 9600. So we open the serial monitor, we come in and we can write to a serial monitor, and at the end we close the serial monitor. And so there are a bunch of different ways we can do this, but those are the three big steps here. And so we're going to start a new VI and figure that out, because I also put in, a while loop, that's familiar, but this framed sequence or flat sequence might not be familiar. The idea of a flat sequence, it looks like a roll of film. You do frame 1 and then frame 2 and then frame 3. LabVIEW does not go left to right, top to bottom. And if I was to open and then close and then write, or close and then write and then open, right? We need this to happen in order. And so to force Arduino to do it in order, we throw it in a flat sequence. So new VI coming right up. Control T tiles your windows. Let's start with our structures so that I have the right pieces of my programming. So I'm going to grab a while loop and a flat sequence, and I'll just draw the flat sequence there. And I'm going to add a frame after, that's my close frame, and add a frame before, that's my open frame, and I should be able to adjust the size of things here. Okay, so that gives me my loop. Now, I'm not going to show you 100% of how to do the LabVIEW, but I'll show you all the tools you need. So those are my structures. So then where do we head? Well, I told you, right, it was serial communication. So you might have trouble finding that. We go to search and I type Visa. That was what I found here. So now we go to Visa open, and this isn't quite right. That doesn't look like what I showed you at the beginning, right? So let's try a different way. Let's say serial. And we'll go to Visa write. Got to the same place. Okay, so maybe this isn't working perfectly. I do know it's data communication, so I'm going to try again under protocols and serial. And these look a little different to me, but maybe they were exactly the same and it's just my memory. At any rate, Datacom protocols serial gets me to close, write, and I can't find that open, but maybe it's configure. So we're going to try that, and then with our context help on, we can double check. So this is exactly right. So while it opens a serial monitor, what it's called is configure. This one writes a string to a serial monitor, and this one closes that communication. So I have my three pieces. My Visa resource name is what gets passed along to the three steps. My Visa inputs, this is where I want to check for my inputs. So I'm going to right-click on baud rate and create a constant so that I can see what the baud rate is being entered as. And then I'm going to right-click on Visa resource name and again create a constant, and this one I can see is going to have a box where I can put my COM port in. And so at this point, if you need to, open up your Arduino, go to Tools, Port, and check. So my Arduino is on COM5. If I come back to LabVIEW, what else? So I used the while loop, but I suppose there are a couple of ways to do this simple one. I grabbed a while loop from one of my more complicated programs. But to show you how this works, I'm just going to write a buffer. I'm going to write a constant of sensor on. Oh, no, we don't want to do anything complicated. We're just going to do on. I don't know why I got fancy there. But oh, I remember why I put the while loop in, so that we can write over and over again. Sometimes 6 o'clock is just too late to make a video, but we press on. So I connect through my while loop, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up my diagram because things have gotten mighty messy. And if I hold the control key and drag out here, I can get a little bit of white space. So if I was to run this, it would not run. I have a broken arrow. We can find out why. Why? Missing a stop button. Easy as pie. So we come here, right click, create a control, boom, stop. So what this is doing is just writing the string on to our buffer. But if instead I wanted to select between two strings, right? Recall how we can do that. We can, well, we need a Boolean, so I'm going to put in an OK button here. And I'm going to call this Arduino power. And so when that's on, the power is on, and when it's off, it's off. Okay, so that could inform a selector tool. You're exactly right. So we come to programming, comparison, select, and that could decide what my two strings are. Control drag gets me a second one. Oops. Oh, got to click the right number of times. So I can do that. And so I could wire that up to my Visa. This is not difficult, but it does require that you find the Visa configure serial port. And remember, you can use that here. And where did we find? So we wrote Visa configure serial port. There's a bunch of ways in here. So here, I did get to the right one. Configure, write. We'll use read to get measurements in future, and close. And so this should run. I'm missing something. Oh, I didn't wire my terminal. Right. So this should run. And if I turn on my Arduino power, oh, I'm going to have to press and hold. That's not ideal. But that should run my Arduino, where if I'm pressing it, LED is running the SOS code. And when I'm not pressing it, the Arduino is not. Questions welcome. That wraps the Pre-Lab 2 tutorials.